Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Saurabh and I work as an associate director at Ipsos. The speech that I'll deliver today is from module number 3, and it is very similar to the objectives that were already set by speaker number 1, where I have to research a particular topic and sort of present it to the audience, and my coach for the day will be Rajiv Sharma. A disclaimer. The research that I've done is exploratory in nature, and it doesn't have any graphs or graphics, and hence I think the content will help you imagine a lot of things. I'm a researcher by profession, and hence I have the liberty to study different disciplines. So I deal with a lot of statistics, I deal with a lot of mathematics, and recently I've developed this penchant for studying anthropology and sociology. But having said that, there is one discipline on this earth that I am really feeling for now, and that is the discipline of law. So I think someone spoke about what if we don't have lawyers, but I think law is one discipline that has really caught my attention in the last 2 years, because I think it just gives me a lot of homely feeling, like my mom-in-law, my father-in-law, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law. Unfortunately, I've got all 4 of them. And English language always surprises me, because why we don't have such names for our regular biological parents. So say, for example, mother in biology, father in triology, sister in cosmetology, and or actually probably brother in phytology. But then I think it has sort of always intrigued me when it really comes down to the family. So I will pick one of them, which is mother-in-laws, which I think is an exciting topic. Someone, it's an exciting species to really sort of talk about. And I will sort of present some facts which I think people who are married here will be able to relate to, and people who are not can sort of take a leaf out of our speech. Having said that, have you ever thought that why Vyasa, which is Mahabharata, made Draupadi marry 5 Pandavas? The answer is simple, because Mother Kunti thought that I'll have greater control on one daughter-in-law rather than my 5 sons marrying 5 different girls. Well, it is not stated, but of course it can be inferred from our scriptures. So, the basic effect that I'll start from describing is the first one that I call as the Bachchan effect, the Amitabh Bachchan effect. You all would have seen 70s cinema when Amitabh Bachchan is just about to kill the villain. And then, there's a loud noise that comes from the background. Please don't kill him. He's your father. He turns around and he sees, this old lady standing there, and he says, how do you know this? And she says, because I'm your mother. And that melodramatic moment is the moment when, a violent scene really turns into a very soft and emotional scene. He drops his weapon. He goes to those 2 individuals, the newly found parents, and would hug them, and it sort of all ends there. Something very similar something very similar happens to a lot of married men. After 25 years, we find new parents. Exactly the Bachchan effect. We find new parents, and above all, something which is very interesting is when you are when we start talking about mother-in-laws per se, there is another effect that I call as the baby boomer effect. When you're sitting with your in-laws, there's this entire gathering sitting in there, and how much hard would you try? Your mother or your mother-in-law starts this new game of Chinese whispers, and that too with your wife. So she'll say something in her ears, and your wife will look at you from a distance. She'll blush, and you exactly know what they're really talking about. That game would go on and on, on and on, on and on. Let me clarify to all the people in this room that it is at that moment when the baby gets delivered. What happens after that for 9 months is just a biological process. So in Indian families, that's exactly what happens. The third, mother-in-laws are quite smart. They are very smart. So they have got this wisdom quotient that they're full of. So I know a friend who's very open to his mother, and he sort of told her that I would want to sort of bring your to-be daughter-in-law, and I would want her to get introduced to you. So she was quite open about that fact. And when he sort of entered the house, he sort of took 2 other friends along with her. And when she opened the door, she was like, surprise, I've got 3 people. You have to identify who's the daughter-in-law. The mother, who by then had taken the avatar of mother-in-law, very boldly said to the third one. He was surprised. He was like, how did you know this? I've never even described her. I've never even shown you the photographs. How did you come to know that she's the one? The mother-in-law replied, well, she's the one that I couldn't even stand for a minute. And hence, so I think the only difference between the in-laws and the outlaws is that at least outlaws are wanted, in-laws are not. But having said that, from my personal experience, my point of view, I've been blessed with fantastic family on both the sides. Of course, because I'm recording. And also because I'm actually far away from my in-laws. They sort of stay in some other state. So of course I am farther from them and not further from them, of course, if I've used that correctly. But I think in the end I would just want to say that mother-in-law is something that sort of stems from mother. So if all the married men in this room can sort of change that from mother-in-law to mother-in-law, I think that is something which I think we all should aspire for. So all the married men in this room, try if your relationship is not so rosy with your mother-in-laws, and for all the unmarried men, beware of the species. Thank you so much.